Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the big room here. I hope you're all enjoying things so far. Have you all figured out how to download the QR code? We want to make sure that you guys are doing that correctly. There is actually an app you need. You don't just take a picture of the QR code. I thought that's how it worked a long time ago. But hey, since we're at this technology conference, we should know how to do this, I suppose. But you do have to go to the apps, purchase the app, or it's a free download app. It's a QR code to read the little marker. That'll bring you to the survey. So whatever conference or breakout session you're leaving, you can fill out the information or the survey right there on your phone. And so many of you have been tweeting, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on that, so wanted to say great job, keep that up, and especially at the Great 178. Thank you. Just want to make sure you get that. Thank you. He put the code up for everybody, you guys. We're going to have a great speaker coming up here in a minute, and I know a lot of you will have questions to follow after this one. So we've put some microphones in the room, and we're going to have some Q&A after she's all finished up. So if you think about a question while she's up here, make sure you keep it, and then we're going to have you line up by the microphones to get through as many questions as we can when she's finished. But our next speaker really needs no introduction. In fact, it's by popular demand that we brought her back. Corinne Hoisington is a full-time professor of information systems technology at Central Virginia Community College in Lynchburg, Virginia. Who's from Virginia out there? Well, you're not alone today, Corinne. She has over 25 years of teaching experience. She is the recipient of the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional in Computer Programming. Corinne presently has authored over a dozen books with Cengage Learning. So please help me welcome to the stage, everybody, Corinne Hoisington.
Everybody just have a good time.
Well, good morning, San Diego. How we doing? This is the most beautiful venue I've ever seen. I'm so excited to be here today, and please understand that I'm one of you. I answered emails this morning about, is it okay that I missed January and February? Did I miss much? I hope the answer was, yes, indeed you did. I teach 18 credit hours this semester in Virginia. This is my 28th year teaching. Please do not do the math. It's becoming painful. So let's get rolling here. You know, I think what you're going to see is I want you to start to imagine what your course will start to look like with Windows 8. It's not a matter if we're going to go. It's a question of when. Because this technology is ready to roll. So let's take a moment to see what your course is going to look like and how we're going to carry on. So what we're going to see right here is how Windows 8 is changing. So are you ready to get started? We are about to carry on. Every time I turn around, something new in technology. And boy, is this new. So let's take a look, and I first, at the beginning of the top of class today, I'm going to give everyone an assignment. Don't you hate that? Now, I will not be checking it. You do not have to submit it into Blackboard. Here's what I'm asking, though. If you get time in the next week, after you recover from this amazing conference, I want you to go to a place like Best Buy or Fry's or somewhere that sells technology. And I want you to walk in the store and pretend you're a student. You need a new computer. You need a new device, something new mobile. You know what you won't find is anything that we have sitting in our classrooms right now. No more desktop computers, you know, those big beige ones, you all realize? What you're going to see instead are all devices that weigh 2 pounds, that move around. So let's get going with our field trip to Best Buy and see how it's going to go for you.
Hi, may I answer any questions?
What the heck's the difference between all these phones? Windows or Android? What's LTE? Is it contagious? Which one fits my face? Do you make commission?
No.
Which one has a touch screen? Which one has a touchy-feely screen? Is this considered touching? What's the cloud? Where is the cloud? Are we in the cloud now? How many megapixels does one person really need? What makes a smart TV so smart? Whoa, 3D. Whoa. What if I break it? Do you install? Do you deliver? Are these noise canceling? No, I mean, do you deliver? So what's the difference between an e-reader and a tablet? Between a tablet and this thing?
Which one is the most vibratiest?
Can this transfer all my pictures of puppies dressed up like hot dogs?
Sure.
Can I use a dongle with this? Does it make you uncomfortable when I use the word dongle? Can I connect it to my TV? Can I connect these to my phone so I look dope when I call my peeps? You want to unbutton your shirt a little bit? Why am I so awesome? Hey, am I allowed in here?
No, Amy. Well, a lot has changed right now, and here we are at Windows 8. It's now been out about 4 months, doing pretty well. So we're going to have to see how will this affect our classrooms and to move forward. Most of you are starting to see that all of these squares on this screen, you can move across with mouse or with touch. And just real quick to make sure we all know what this is called, this is not called your desktop. In fact, you might need a jar in the front of the classroom that you put $1 accidentally every time you say the word desktop. Maybe you could buy the students some pizza or maybe filet mignon before it's all over with. So this is called the start screen. Everybody say it with me real quick. What's it called? It is the start screen. And these little squares, we won't use that term anymore. These little squares right here are called, let's see who knows. All right, and each of these tiles launch an app. So we're going to take a look at what these great items do as we go along. So how does this all change things? Well, do me a favor for a moment. I would like you to read 3 slides to yourselves. If you could take a look and read this real quick. Oh, no. And the next slide that I'd like you to read, please. Oh. And one more, please. Always put the funny thing at the end so I know you're reading. So, Corinne, why would you say that? One more, please. You know, 11 years ago, these statements were made about Windows XP. And you know, rumor has it, Windows XP did pretty well. You know, we have a conservative business environment. Companies sometimes are like, okay, let's make sure we test everything, everything works. We don't want any problems, and I can understand that. All of our schools want to do the same thing. But the question is, sometimes it's hard to move forward. And the biggest reason is, who moved my cheese? You know, we sit down at some new device, and you're like, oh my goodness, I should instantly understand how to do everything. But there is a little bit of learning curve, and I'm going to try to get you past that today. So we're seeing these new devices, and one of the reasons that I believe a lot of our businesses will be switching to Windows 8 in the next 13 months is because Microsoft is cutting support and updates to Windows XP, Windows Vista, and Office 2003 in a very short 13 months. So if you realize the business climate today, do you know that 23% of US businesses right now are still using Windows XP? We see that they're going to be heading to Best Buy on their own field trip. And kind of, what's the only thing left? In the store at Best Buy and Fry's, the only computer that you can buy on the PC side today is Windows 8. So as students are getting new computers for school, sometimes graduation, their parents all, get them that nice PC for school, they're going to be walking into your classes this summer and this fall with Windows 8. And we're going to see businesses slowly but surely head in that direction as well. And we want to be ready for that. Now, we all remember Vista, right? I've noticed people never just say, Windows Vista. I want you to look at everyone at your table as we do this in a second, and I want you to say the word Vista the way people typically say it. Everybody look at each other's faces, go. It looks like a feminist word, you know? So we all remember Vista. Corinne, can you promise me this is not the next Vista? I can, but let's have a little fun with it. Let me show you.
Roger, did you ever tell your sister about the time Sheldon got punched by Bill Gates?
Oh God, you're kidding.
Nope. Gates gave a speech at the university. Sheldon went up to him afterwards and said, maybe if you weren't so distracted by sick children in Africa, you could have put a little more thought into Windows Vista.
Bam, right in the nose.
Well, we can have a little fun with it, and we see that Vista is being pulled from support. But they're doing pretty well. As of the beginning of this month, we know that Microsoft has now sold 70 million copies of Windows 8. So that's a positive sign. You know, throughout the day, I'm going to be showing you some new technology. This afternoon, I'll be showing you Office 2013 as well. And I want to get you engaged a little bit as I start to show you some great features. So every time I show something pretty cool and I ask the audience this question, what do you think of that? I want you to give me a woot woot back. Can we handle that? Let's practice. What do you think of all these great features I'm about to show you? Now, I know I have some programmers out there, and by the way, I am one of them. Programmers, how do we put it? We show a little less excitement at times. So I've put this together. This is just for my programmers. If you're not a programmer, you don't have to look at this. But just for my programmers, do you understand now? Okay, just my programmers. Run that code. Go. Thank you very much. So first things first. When you first log on to a Windows 8 machine, you have a couple options. And I'm holding in my hand a Samsung Series 7 Slate, also called a tablet. Weighs less than 2 pounds, boots up in under 8 seconds. Oh, that'll be nice in the classroom. Pretty much we're going to see that there are two devices that you will predominantly use in the Windows 8 space. You'll use something like a tablet, or if you're looking right here at my computer, this happens to be an Ultrabook. So even laptops become so 1990s already. So with these devices that we'll be having, you will need to log on. You have a couple options. One way is to use a password. But let's face it, passwords, I'm so tired of an uppercase, lowercase, 16 letters. Make sure you use some symbol. But now we can use a picture password. So my picture password, I want to introduce, I have 6 kids. My oldest daughter is 27. She's my favorite right now. Let me explain. She just gave birth to this wonderful young man named Liam. Everybody say, hey, Liam. So Liam's now 9 months old, and he's become my picture password. You say, what do you mean? Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, if you grab my computer later, how exactly to log on. If you touch Liam's nose, Santa's nose, and yes, Santa is real, and touch the side of his hat right here in a gesture, and I mean like pull the mouse down. If you look at my mouse on the screen right here, you too can log in to my Windows 8 computer. You know, now you can kind of sign in with a smile. 1, 2, 3. Always 3 gestures that you can log in using Windows 8. Think of what picture you're going to use. Aww. Isn't that cute? Now, not only when you log into Windows 8 could you use a traditional login and password, or of course signing in with gestures. When you log in, what's important here to understand is that you actually not only log down here locally, you can, but you can also log into, I did this in class the other day, and one of my students said, to the 3rd floor, to the clouds. You see, what does that mean? It means if I'm at Eric's house for dinner, what are we making, Eric? Okay, next week, good. If I'm at Eric's house for dinner and he has a Windows 8 machine, I can log in on his computer and all those apps, those tiles, would be mine. I have access to all my information. Boy, that doesn't work in the Apple or Android world. Now it doesn't matter what machine you're on, just identifying what cloud you're connecting with. and whose information? Man, that changes everything. And I have to tell you something that's already happened in my class already. Now, I know this, I present this, but I had to be a little surprised. 2 weeks ago in my class, I noticed that right now, our college, Central Virginia Community College, is using Windows 7 still. We are going to Windows 8 this fall, as well as most of the state of Virginia, I understand. So as we're heading there, I've been talking to the students about Windows 8. I looked around the back of my classroom, in other words, I could see their screens, and I noticed one of my classroom computers had the tiles and the apps all up on the screen, and I went, what? How'd you, oh, I know how you did that. Just so you know, your students are about to do it too. It's called Windows to Go. They can take a 16 gig USB drive, copy just 2 files onto it, and then they can go to a Windows 7 PC, boot off the USB, and they would have Windows 8 on their computer with their tiles and all of their data. It does run a little slower because you're doing USB access versus hard drive, but it does work. So wow, we have Windows to Go. What else are we noticing with this Windows 8? On your field trip to Best Buy, remember you do have homework. Don't put it off. Windows 8 now has different form factors. That's the new buzzword today. Make sure in all of your intro classes you're saying the word form factor. So what does that mean? Well, Windows 8 is based on HTML5 and CSS3. That means no matter what size screen that you place it on a Windows Phone device or a very large screen, it automatically lays out perfectly according to your form factor. That's huge. So what we're going to be seeing coming out of all the Windows 8 camp, Dell and many other companies, we're going to see lots of different sizes to meet the need of that population, unlike iPads that come in 1 or 2 sizes. So we're going to see all different types. Now, let's get the terms down. You know, I don't want you to walk into class and say, this is a CPU. No, baby, this is a CPU now. So what are these things called? Right in my hand, right here, we're actually using a tablet. And right here, let me just show you, this is an Ultrabook. The definition of an Ultrabook is a laptop that weighs less than 4 pounds, typically touch. And look at my screen right here. I can flip it right around. This is called a convertible. I can lay it down flat to become a tablet as well. Now you'll notice the price point, if you do get a convertible, goes up a little bit, just like real car convertibles, right? So how much is the price point here? Well, you can go into Best Buy and you will find the non-convertibles, just the simple Ultrabooks, starting in the price point of around $400 at Best Buy, so you know what you're dealing with here. Convertible Ultrabooks can go upwards to $1,000 very simply. Now let me show you what you're going to find in Best Buy. You're going to find some great new computers that are different versions. Windows 8 Enterprise obviously is the networking one, but what we're going to find for most of our schools is we'll be using Windows 8 Professional or Pro. That means you have all the Windows apps and all capabilities in addition to running any software package that Windows 7, Windows XP, or any of those could run. There is another choice. There is a Windows RT. I have someone in the audience with one. Hold them up if you have a Windows RT device. I know there's some out there. Back there, everybody, look back. She's got a Windows 8 RT. This is the RT Surface. RT stands for the words runtime. She can do all the apps. She can use Microsoft Office. It actually comes with a free copy of Microsoft Office. But she can't run installed programs like Visual Studio or Camtasia or any of the big dog programs. So for a lot of us, RT will be great for basic computing, but for the real powerful stuff, we're going to need Windows 8 Pro as well. So we've seen the Surface that it's out there. You know, there's a lot of other machines that have just hit the market. For example, have you heard about the Lenovo Yoga? Check this out. This is all Windows 8. Watch all of its form factors, and it's convertible. 360. Great marketing. cool?
You're from the 70s, but I'm a 90s. I love it. I love it. I love it.
This guy couldn't come to hang out with them? Well, now he can.
I love it.
We're seeing all types of convertibles. The one that I have right here in front of me, the Ultrabook convertible, is a Dell XPS 12. I saw a couple in the audience. If you have a Dell XPS 12, hold them high. So we've got a few out there. The neat thing about the Dell is it converts from an Ultrabook to a tablet. They all boot up in under 8 seconds. They all have a 10-point touch. Pretty neat. Yeah, that's nice. That's the one that I have. And just for fun, I love this Asus Tai Chi. Everybody say that word. What is it? Asus Tai Chi. It looks like a regular Ultrabook, but check it out.
The outside display has
When you start really looking at it, did you see how many monitors? How many?
even from extreme angles.
Yeah. Wouldn't this be great in business? You know, you sit down with a customer and you want to demo your product. Well, now you can both see the same screen if you prefer. You know, so how much does all this cost, Corinne? Let's talk cash. Don't write this down too firm because I've got a little bit better option for you in just a moment. But most of us as educators are familiar with a website called theultimatesteal.com. It's Microsoft's sponsored site for faculty and students, by the way. They now included the words faculty, staff, part-time, and full-time students to get a hold of some of the software that we're going to be using in the classroom. Well, you can, for $69.99, get a copy of Windows 8 Pro for a home computer, but I told you I have a better deal. So what might that deal include? Please, please, please jot this down, tattoo it on some body part. But you're going to want to know about dreamspark.com. Everybody, what's the word? Now, this is the old Academic Alliance. The Academic Alliance has rolled into DreamSpark today. And here's what's so impressive about this. Originally, I saw my IT director at my college. If anybody knows him, make sure you give him a shout out later. I went to him, I said, you know, we'd really like to use Windows 8 this fall. He said, we cannot afford it. I said, no, hold on, just real quick, come with me. I opened dreamspark.com. What DreamSpark provides for your entire department, your faculty, your staff in that department, any students who's taking a class in that department, the first year, an academic institution pays $499. Here's what that includes. You can actually have Windows 8. Every faculty member and student gets 5 free copies of Windows 8 Professional. So I'm not saying $499 per person. Is everybody catching this? How much is it total? Just $499. So I said, we can't afford this. This is a lot cheaper than anything I've seen out there. By the way, subsequent years after the first year is only $329. This also includes Visual Studio. Many other products like Expression Studio are part of this same deal. So pretty exciting. This does not include Office. We'll talk about that later this afternoon. So what's out there? Well, let's get to our live demo part. This is truly the most significant upgrade you have ever seen to any operating system. And for all my Mac folks out there, you're gonna love it. It is very Mac-ish, if you don't mind the term. So let's take a look at what they've actually done with Microsoft Windows 8. Now, as we go to demo, let me point out something. I mentioned earlier that our country is somewhat conservative, and we're, of course, economically, a lot of companies are afraid to switch things overnight. What we're realizing that all over the country, and look at the date on this, this is November 2012, countries like India, China, Japan, Russia, some of their companies already have 80% of their computers running Windows 8. You know what they get? That they can provide a lot of business advantage for them, and they get it. We need to do this just simply to continue to be competitive. Interesting point. So what can Windows 8 do for all of us? Well, I'm going right here to, what's the screen called, everybody? Here we are at the start screen. Hey, and if you happen to have a couple of tables, people are running Windows 8, so if you want to tap on them and touch them, maybe pass them around the table if you don't mind, so people can have the same experience. And I also want to welcome more than the 600-700 people that are in this room today. We also are live casting this all over the world right now. So everybody look at the camera and wave real quick and say, hey everybody. Thank you for joining us as well today. So what should we know about Windows 8 in this new screen? Well, let me start by opening one of the apps. I can use my fingers, and if you look on the screen right now, do you all see 10 touch points? Why is that different? Well, if you have like an iPhone or an iPad, typically you only have 2 or 3 touch points. All the new devices that are coming out are 10-point touch, which means it's much faster, much more conducive to movement. But a lot of our schools do not have these groovy 10-point touchpads. So what are we going to do in our classroom? Well, it runs fine with the old-fashioned mouse. Now, a lot of people look at this and go, Corinne, I don't even know where to get started. I don't know where to click. There's no start button in the bottom left-hand corner. What have they done? Well, baby, let me show you something. Let's show you. The very first day of class, whether you're going to Windows 8 or not, your students are going to say, how do I use it? You are the IT guru, just so you know. So let me just show you some basic points to get rolling. Let's say I want to open a program like Microsoft Word. I'm looking on my screen and I don't see a W or a Word app to get going. Where is this? All you have to do, no, I have not clicked anywhere. Tell me, everybody, what letter does the word Word start, please? So all I'm doing, watch it right here, I'm about to hit the letter W. What happens on the screen? You don't need a start button. Here's why. Start buttons are so 1990s. Let me explain how we used to open something without a shortcut. We'd have to click on the screen on the start button. We'd have to click above it to get in the search query. We'd have to type in W-O-O-R-D. Oh no, there's WordPad too. You know, we had to go through all these steps. This now just allows you to type any program or application and it just opens. How about if I was trying to open Skype? What letter would I start with, everybody? You get the idea? So you don't have to click all those Windows 7 ancient times to get there. And we can open Word that way. Now, what I want to show you is I want to open the Maps app. Everybody look on my screen. Do you see where my mouse is jumping up and down? Right here called the Maps app. And when I open the Maps app, oh my goodness, that is not a photograph, everyone. That is a map. So here we are, literally here we are. Isn't that beautiful from the air? We knew it was beautiful from our viewpoints of our rooms. And I can zoom in and zoom out and do all the type map thing. Look how fast and responsive it is. Now, let's say later on today, you want to search for some late night snacks. So let's say you want some great Mexican food. Here we are in the capital of this. Oh, it'd be so good. So because I have the app open to the Map app, when I search Mexican right here, it's actually going to search on my screen, let me show you, for all these fine Mexican restaurants really close to us. You can give me directions step by step. And you say, well, Corinne, you're connected to GPS. No, I am not. I'm just connected to the hotel network. And now they can figure out exactly where you are. Uh-oh, big brother. But we can use this map app. For example, right here, I can go up and I can clear my map. I'm now going to search, let's say you're in class. You're talking about the Queen is not feeling well right now in London. So I want to head over to Big Ben. I understand they're going to rename the Tower of London, Big Ben London, after her. So I can now head out to Big Ben right here. Let's zoom in a little bit if you would. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. There's Big Ben on the bottom of the screen. Oh, let's go look at the big Ferris wheel too. So notice what I did just now. If I'm using a Windows 8 computer, there is one keystroke you should know about if you don't have a touch screen. Make sure you know this. Notice how I have the right side of the screen open right here? This area right here are called charms. Everybody say charms. And what do you think how we search? What do you think of that technology so far? Programmers, it's time to run the code, okay? So this area of the screen right here is called Charms. So everyone, you are in Charm School. Are you ready? So here we are in Charm School. Notice there are 5 charms on the right side of the screen. There's search and share and a start button. By the way, that'll take you back to the start screen. Devices, and of course settings. Settings could be like, how do you turn it off? How do you connect to the internet? That settings is going to be very important. So what's the keystroke you should know? Well, if I'm on an app and I can't see these charms, I can, if I'm on a touch screen, touch from the right edge of the screen inward. That opens the charms or this master controller. But obviously, if I don't have a touch screen, I can hit the Windows key and the letter C. What do you think C stands for in this instance? So if I hit Windows C, do you all see the charms open as well? Can also mouse control it. I can click anywhere over here on the right side of the screen and the charms show up. So as long as you know Windows C, you're good to go. So here we are in the charms. Notice I hit search earlier. And obviously, since I was in the map app, it searched Big Ben London. Now, here's what I'm trying to explain. This is huge. Usually, any programs we've had have their own help screen or search screen, right? You have to go find where it is. This, you're going to use this universal search for more than to find files or folders. You're now going to find everything inside your apps using this. Well, I had Big Ben London, but what would happen if I change this right now, and I'm going to go down and touch Internet Explorer? Do you see what happened here? It automatically searched Bing. Now, people say that stands for, but it's not Google. That's not true, okay? But because of in Big Ben London, it searched the internet just like that. You can add Chrome and Mozilla Firefox and even Safari to your Windows 8 machine as well. Hey, I'm going to change Big Ben London. You know, we're in a town with great food around here, so I need some good salsa. Now, obviously, since I'm right now on a search engine, it says salsa up there. But let me scroll down a little bit further, and I'm going to head into a cookbook app. And here we are. Oh, my goodness, it found 130 recipes with salsa. And check that out. I didn't have to type it all in inside the cookbook. So now everything works seamlessly. So what else can we do with these apps? Well, next, let's see. I need, if you are here for your first year, raise your hand, please. Let's see. This gentleman who looks like a programmer, sir, come see me. Up on stage, blue. Everybody, who is this? Do we know this man? Tell us who you are real quick. Give him a round of applause. He's like, great, I had to raise my hand. Hey, introduce yourself real quick. Who are you?
Mike Taylor, ECPI University in Raleigh.
And he's a dean. We should genuflect.
But I'm not a programmer.
Okay. You know, nowadays, all these new computers are coming with video cameras and image cameras on the front and the back most often. So if you would stand right here real quick, we can play any type of game. We can do all kinds of different activities here. What you're going to do in just a second is you're going to see your image on the screen. Could you hold your arms up, sir, and step back just a little bit to get lined up? Okay, you're going to be punching balls in the air, so start punching, sir. No, sir, punch. Tougher. This is using Kinect technology built into Windows 8. He doesn't need a controller. Everybody, if you were just to walk by him, he looks a little mad, doesn't he? Everybody give him a woo-woo. Woo! Everybody give him a woo-woo. And if you look up on my screen, we've got some great 5x7s, sir, I'll be selling you later for your trip to San Diego. Now, I know that's a fun piece, but you know what? Students today want not only the academic piece, but they want the whole picture. So how is this changing things? Well, along with that fun piece, if you would, students are into music. Has anyone noticed? Yeah? You know, when I say music, I'm tapping the music app right up here. And I can play any song. Well, I'm in California today, so of course I've got to play a little this. So we can play any music with this, from Sinatra to Gaga. So it plays all of your iTunes as well. I think people might just like this piece. What do you think? So Corinne, how does it work? Well, obviously, I am not paying for any monthly fees or anything like that. I can go to my search. What's this called, a search what? It starts with a C. And I can type in Carly or anybody in the whole world, and I can search for anyone named Carly, or any song that starts with a C for that matter, and I can play any song right here, and there's no cost in me doing this. So, my goodness, this might cost you a little bit. You'll want one of these. So all Windows 8, you say they're going to do this in the classroom. Yeah, they could listen to your podcast, all these great audio things. Boy, I don't see that as a problem. So let's kick it up for a second. We got to hear the good praise. Come on, everybody, do it. I knew you wanted to do it. Pretty cool. And not only that, but students like video. In fact, all of us do as well. You know, one thing I have to tell you, I'm tired of paying my cable and satellite bill. Everybody else would agree? I mean, $100 for commercials and infomercials? I mean, it's ridiculous. So how will Windows 8 change all that? I really believe it will. At home, we have disconnected from that little $100 a month payment. You see, what are you doing? We're using Windows 8. So if I want to watch Big Bang Theory or any particular show, and I mean old shows from I Love Lucy to Tuesday night's episode of Big Bang Theory or Thursday night, I can go right here. I can watch episodes of any program at any time. That's big. Now, Netflix, HBO Go, some of your major names are now part of Windows 8 as well. So you can watch them. You say, well, how do you hook this to your TV? You can do it wirelessly through Bluetooth and also through an HDMI cable as well. So wow, audio, video, and in fact, you know, with all these cameras, Lucy, where are you in the audience? Come see me, girl. Lucy is from California. You're coming up here, Lucy. Sorry, girl, you're not sitting down. Lucy, by the way, tell us where you're from. I know you can project. Come on.
I'm from Santa Monica, but I work at California State University.
All right. Come up. Everybody say hey, woo-woo to Lucy. So, Lucy, I'd like you just to stand right here once again. With all these cameras, I bet we can, all these apps, will use them seamlessly. So if you would smile at the screen right now. You're stuck. Put yourself back together real quick. Do you see what happened? You know, all the apps, you don't have to install the video cameras and all these items. All the apps work seamlessly in this venue. Everybody give her a woo-woo. She did well. That was good. Get off the stage, Lucy. Good, good. Hey, so we have this. We also have connection to all of our information. I'm showing you my SkyDrive right here. You know, it used to be that I looked at my computer as where I'd save my primary copy of any file, and I would back up occasionally, if I remembered, to the cloud. But you know, with everything going more mobile, and all of us are using more than one computer. You know, we email ourselves files, and we carry around USBs. I love my students. They came up to me the other day and said, Miss Hoisington, I totally lost my SPU. I said, your what? My stick. You know, like this stick that sticks out of my computer, I lost it. And I said, well, where do you think it is? I think it's in my boyfriend's car, and we totally broke up. Everything has a story with them. Have you noticed this? I'm reminded last week I got to speak at South by Southwest, and I heard one of the speakers say this: we don't teach classes, we teach students. And sometimes what's the better for their world? This cloud is great for them. A lot of them spend time at mom's house this weekend and dad's house and friend's house, and they can never seem to keep up with all their stuff. How many have found a USB sticking out of one of your computers in the past week? Oh, then the ones with hands down teach online. Okay. So now what we're seeing is, wouldn't it be great for the students to always have their materials wherever they go? So Windows 8, I'm not going to require USB drives anymore. I mean, I'm going to have them facilitate the cloud, which is helping in business today. So I can be anywhere at any time. We now have a Windows Store. And you say, what's a Windows Store? It's kind of like, an app store. And they right now have 62,000 apps today. Now, you say, well, Corinne, iPads, iPhones, they have 750,000, almost a billion, by the way. You are correct. But all the major apps are here, and we know with the whole world in business today, primarily using Windows 8, we're going to see all the apps show up very soon. You say, well, how do I search? I need a great new programming app. I've been picking on programmers. So what can I do? If I type in the programmer right here, I can instantly get hundreds and hundreds of apps that I can tap right here. Here's a great new programming tutorial, and I can install in seconds. You say, well, where does it install to? You all tell me, where does it install to? What's this screen? It's already installed right there. And if I go to Eric's house, remember, and log in, that programming tutorial will be there right now as well. That's huge. One of my favorite apps in the Windows 8 space is right here. It's called the People app. Do you all have a lot of people in your world? Now, think where your people come from. Here's some of my people. Some of you may find yourself in here. My people right here, I have Facebook friends. Who's on Facebook? Raise your hand. Let me see my Facebook folks. Okay, I'll stalk you later. Good. Hey, who are my Twitter folks? By the way, my Twitter ID is C. Hoisington, so give me a shout out. What else is out there? How many are LinkedIn? Come on, my professionals. Everybody should have their hands up for that. LinkedIn. How many use email? School email if you still have a job. Good, good. We all have these various options that are out there. Well, you have to think of who your friend is. Like I have a friend named Jessica in the audience today. And I have to think, is she my Facebook friend, my Twitter friend? Which friend is she? Well, now using the People app, you can put everybody's login, the Facebook login one time ever, your LinkedIn one time ever, and it grabs all of your people into one central location. By the way, Jessica, where are you? Give me a woot woot. She is my co-author on the Dreamweaver CS6 book, so come see her on Friday morning. Hey, so I can see what's happening in the world. You've got good kids there. And if I'm searching for Linda Leonardos, who's got Linda Leonardos as a rep? She's on the Tampa side of this planet. If I'm searching for Linda right here, I can now see what's happening with Linda Leonardos and her beautiful little twins, Lex and Lindy. So now we can stay in touch. I don't have to go to Facebook to message her. I can go right here under Linda, and I can send her a message to thank her for anything that I want. I can say thank you right there, and Linda, you should have just gotten a message. Pretty cool. Even when I go out to a website, let's say I'm heading to a website like Cengage. I want to thank Cengage for holding a great conference like this. If I waited for my school to train me, I'd be learning WordPerfect 5.1 next week. So let's say I want to share this great new technology, maybe like MindTap, with someone else. I don't have to copy and paste the web address and go through all those many steps like we're used to. Now what's happening right here is I can simply go to the share charm. Which charm? And I can go to share, find my people, and it automatically is loading that website and a description and often an image out to anyone in that particular share group or individual. So we're now not copying, paste a web address, logging into your email, you know, like those iPads and everything have to. So sorry. So pretty cool. So what are all this? I find this cool, if you would. For example, there's a travel app. Here we are in London, but let's type in San Diego, because here we are traveling to San Diego, California today. It will show me all the travel information for all of our neck of the woods. Hey, for example, there's this area right outside of San Diego called La Jolla. And in La Jolla, check this out, there is something called Seal Beach. Look at all the seals right there. And they live there all the time. No sneaking out, though, till Saturday. Promise? So now we've got travel apps, everything to pull us right in. You know, we're in a world now that things are changing very quickly. You know, we're going to be sharing every slide and every part of our presentations with every one of you after the conference. You'll be able to go to the Cengage site and find all these materials. So I made sure in my slides I have a little cheat sheet of any of the keystrokes if you're not using that. You know, it's difficult for us in the classroom. Here's why. A lot of times we're not the decision makers of when we teach Windows 8. Would you agree? You know, we're dependent on someone else. You know, what we're finding is that we feel it imperative to be able to teach something that the student can still purchase. Isn't that an odd thought? If they can't buy Windows 7, you know, and they come into class Windows 8, they're going to be expecting to figure out how to use their new computer. It's a difficult time. You know, it's something that I appreciate that Cengage is doing. I write with the Shelley Cashman series, and I actually help author with Ray and Stephen. Stephen, Ray, pop up here. We just finished up the Windows 8 book. And as we've been writing this, we have found that all the series, you know, whether using New Perspectives or Illustrated and Shelley Cashman, with the Office 2013 books this fall, they're actually putting a free essentials, you know, like the 2-chapter job, with all the Office 2013 books to make sure that all the students will understand all these new technologies. So I think that's pretty cool. I want you to be familiar with something called Windows 8 Blue. We're seeing almost daily changes being made to Windows anymore. You know, if you think about it, the iOS, iPad, Android as well, we're seeing that they use quarterly updates. Constantly they're updating their operating system. Does everyone have a fresh operating system on your smartphone? Well, Microsoft feels they have to do the same thing, and I get that. How are you going to stay current? They can't just 3 years from now suddenly update again. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to skip this one. Well, baby, you can't skip this one. They're now going to just continually update at least once a year. And you say, well, I'll wait till that once a year. No, 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 each day. Let me tell you what happened in the last 24 hours. In the Windows 8 Pro version, there are 2 browsers. One that's on the desktop side, I'll show you that in a moment, and one that's an app. Well, in the last 24 hours, they decided to make both of them support Flash, not just one. So if you had updates to your computer this morning, now they both support Flash because they felt there was a need out there. So we're seeing that turning on a dime. What Windows 8 Blue is the commitment that they're going to continually to upgrade, adding new items all the time. Now, we're not going to change everything, you know, and everything's going to get moved. But don't be surprised if you have a new app sitting on your screen the next time you do some updates. What else are we seeing? You know, with Windows 8 in this environment, it gives us a new way to teach. Think of your students walking in this fall. They walk in our computer literacy courses just like mine, plop down in the seat, and look at the old computer, beige possibly, and say, oh my goodness, I know all of this. And you know what? They don't. I'm finding that students now have 2 levels of understanding. They either have what I call consumer technology understanding. You say, what is consumer literacy? Our students today know how to Facebook, yes. They know how to game. They know how to text message. Kathleen said, you know, hundreds of messages a day. But that consumer literacy is very different than what they're going to need in the business environment, called business literacy. Would everybody agree with that? Give me a woo-woo. And some of our colleges and states are saying this, oh, all the students know computers. Yes? And they're actually cutting out our courses when I am finding the last 3 years, my students are less computer business literate than I have seen in 20 years. Yes? So let me tell you my secret weapon. If we keep teaching old technology, they're not going to see that what we're teaching is critical or important. They may do away with our job and our classes. But if we keep up with current technology like Windows 8, when the students walk in the classroom and see this Windows 8 screen right here, the students are all going to sit there and go, oh, there's that new thing. I went on a field trip to Best Buy, and I touchy-feely'd it, okay? They're going to have seen this. So they're going to go, oh, could you show me this? I'm even changing how I'm teaching that literacy course. I'm not going to spend just one little class time, hour, teaching Windows 7 like I did in the past. Here's a folder. Here's how you create one. And because, standing in front of students nowadays and saying, this is a mouse, their computer might not even have one. Life is changing. We need to take that time. I'm going to expand it to 2 or 3 classes teaching Windows 8 because I don't think one class, they're going to need to understand what is the function of this. How does this work differently? For example, some of the things that the students don't know is if I go to the search term right here, most of you are familiar with Windows Defender. It was a Windows 7 item, but this is very different. Microsoft is stating that you don't need third-party virus protection services because finally, for free, Windows Defender will take care of it. So let's hope that stands true. But we're seeing now that you won't have to hopefully buy a $100 or more monthly membership or so forth a year dealing with some of these type things on here. What else is here? I'm finding that with my students that they want what business wants. Businesses right now don't want to carry big computers around, be tethered to their computer. It's funny, businesses ask for this. They want something that weighs less than 2 pounds, that's cloud connected, that's touch based. And a lot of businesses then looked at it and went, oh, this is different. You wanted different. We wanted this technology. So we're trying to teach as soon as possible because if the schools don't understand our value, teaching more than just consumer, we need to get students ready for the business environment. We better be cutting edge. I often hear it say, Corinne, we're not going to go to anything new because our local businesses aren't moving to it. What are they going to use after April 2014? Are you going to have the students prepared to move on to Windows 8? Our students are in a time warp. We need to prepare them for the next thing, not the last thing. So this is an exciting time that we can all move forward with SkyDrives, with map apps, all these great things. So before I open it to questions, I think it's time for us to all move forward, move onward. And what does that mean? I want you to pick out of this video, which role do you have on campus? Who are you?
Frank, what are you doing?
Fighting the rebels, Phil.
You're ruining the entire Civil War reenactment.
Look, I know it's the wrong war and all, but I got this great deal on eBay.
Wow,
so.
that's authentic British redcoat, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, hey, Ed.
I love the lace.
And look at this embroidery.
Oh,
I know, it's just so gorgeous.
It's the wrong century.
Lighten up, Phil.
Deal?
You guys are, for the most part, how many are on the Segway at your schools trying to move onward? But you have some British redcoats about. They're trying to tether you to the backwards technology. This is the most compatible operating system that Microsoft has ever made. But yet our IT directors are saying, ooh, we're testing it in the sandbox. We got to make sure everything works. It's more compatible than Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, all combined. But yet, we're all concerned. It works with Blackboard. All of our LMSs have already been tested. We're a go. It works with SAM. It works with MindTap. What are we waiting for? You say, well, no, they've already made a decision. You know what excellence is? Keep trying, even if someone says no. Pushing forward because we realize it's important to our students to have the latest and greatest. We're going to open this to questions in just a moment, so I'm going to get the mic people to get through the audience. We're going to have a mic roaming around. Linda, where are you with those mics? Are we out there? We're going to be opening it to questions. We're going to use the microphones coming out. So we're going to open it to some of these questions, but I want to offer you something while we're getting into place. I'm going to be standing a lot in the learning environment in the lab in San Diego too, and I'm going to be standing in front of Windows 8 computers. Please say, Could you do a demo with me? I want to touch it. I want to use it because I want to at least get through it. So we're going to open it up with the mics.
Yes,
Everybody?
we do have 2 microphones planted in the room already. So if you have questions, you can line up in the front one or the back one, depending on where you're at in the room.
So
and
line
we'll get
up.
to your questions.
Everybody, did you learn something new in the last hour?
Yeah, woo-woo.
Woo-woo. Question, sir.
Hi, I'm Rick Weibel from Marshall University. My question is voice control.
Sure.
And gesture control, since we can use the
Yeah,
camera.
absolutely. If we
step
go
back?
to the search tool, there are hundreds of different apps up there that, of course, we didn't get a chance for today. But there is an entire narration and audio settings that we can do speech recognition. So in other words, it's improved than anything Windows 7 and Windows Vista had. I can now talk. Now, I am on a mic, so I can't demo it very well because of the reverberation. But it could actually, I could say, you know, open map app, and it would open it. I could say search charm and write in exactly what I want to say. So voice control is actually, some of it's been rated better than Siri for some aspects of the program. So very exciting.
So I'm going to replace one of my labs from desktops to what?
So I want you to understand, they're not selling the old-fashioned CPU towers, if you would, anymore. So I think what we're going to be seeing more so and more so is you have a couple choices here. What we're doing in our labs that we're replacing, we're in like a 3-year cycle. The new cycle is getting computers that look somewhat like this, Ultrabooks, but they have a tether cord so they don't walk away, if you understand what I'm saying. A lot of schools have opted to dismantle their computer labs and go with the cart. So the students can move and they can set up anywhere. So you're even in a lecture hall that the students could use it as a lab. Of course, the obvious is going to be, we're going to see more BYOD, which means? Yeah, and my favorite little story on this, I sat next to a gentleman on a plane a couple weeks ago, and he was a cool guy, you know, the 20-something, dressed to the T. He pulled out his Mac, you know, multiple devices, and I was writing using the Windows 8 machine, and he looked over and he said, "Could you show me that?" He says, "I plan to hate it." I said, "Deal." So I showed him a quick little 2-minute demo, and at the end he goes, "I like it. I can't believe I like it. It's cooler than my iPad." So we're starting to see that this has all the business features with it. For example, I wanted to show you this real quick as we go. There is a desktop. And let me pull off my slides right here so you can see this. What we're seeing with this is, yes, indeed, there is a desktop for all of your programs. There's not a start button. But remember when you teach that you don't say things like right-click. A lot of students might not have the old-fashioned mouse. You don't need to right-click, although right-clicking does work. Now I can just go up. Everything's on the ribbon. I can see properties. I can share things, zip things, because now everything is up on my ribbon. So even some of our File Explorer type things will change a little bit. Next question.
You were talking about devices. At our college, they're going to thin clients.
Yes.
Can you talk about that with Windows 8?
What a thin client is you do not have a local install typically of Windows 8. So if you would go back to the 1980s, if you don't mind a term from then, we called them dummy stations, nothing personal. And yes, you can actually run Windows 8 in a virtual or thin client setting. Obviously, if you have a really fast server, this will work just fine. Some schools like that because they can easily, you know, update things and control things from their side. So that will be very effective as well. Any more questions? I know I'm standing between you and lunch. Isn't that a tough moment? Yes. Gender? Oh, gestures. So, female. So with gestures, some of the things that we're going to have to mention in class is instead of keep saying click, 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 please understand a lot of our students will not be clicking. I'm going to be showing you in Office 2013 later this afternoon that you can use the entire computer without a mouse, obviously. So some of the gestures, when you go to say click, could everybody get used to saying this? Tap or click, say it. By the way, every one of our books say tap or click because it's a new world. I mean, we can't just say click, that's so old-fashioned. So some of the terms, to right-click, you can do something called press and hold. You can pinch to pull in. As you can see, we can move all of our different apps around throughout here. So you're going to have pinch and pull. And every one of the books actually takes the first few chapters to explain all of those correct terminology, because we better get used to it. The mouse as we know it has gone away. Well, it's been my absolute honor. I'm going to be around all week, and I'll, of course, see you later this afternoon. Even if you think, oh, Corinne, I'm going to go take a nap for your Office 2013, please be here. I think you're going to find that even if you think you're not going to Office 2013, I think you may be surprised. If you learned something new this morning and afternoon, could you put this hand and this hand together repeatedly? Thank you so much.